Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Rewind That. It's the girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Okay guys, today I'm going to be talking about House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 4. The episode is called King of the Narrow Sea. Okay, so I am going to go over this episode. I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. We're not going scene by scene, but it should be enough of a recap so you understand and know my feelings about this episode, okay? So, I want to start off by saying that this episode made me very uncomfortable, guys. Of course, I'm talking about the scene with Daemon and Rhaenyra, okay? Understanding that the Targaryens are big on incest doesn't make watching that scene any better for me, okay? But I'll get back to that later. So in this episode, we see that Rhaenyra is on some kind of tour where possible suitors come to meet her and pretty much plead their case for her hand in marriage. So an old man presents himself and Rhaenyra makes a joke by asking him if he could attest to how beautiful her great-grandmother was. And so, she gave the folks a pretty good laugh, and then he was removed after that because she was like, it's unseemly for him to put himself forward as a contender for her hand, okay? To make matters worse, they bring a child before her, and she says, okay, so now you're bringing me a child. At this point, Rhaenyra was pretty much through with the shenanigans and tells Sir Criston Cole that they're leaving. Now, even though Sir Criston Cole tells her that they have much more time left in the tour, like they got to go to another city and everything, she doesn't care. After all, Rhaenyra does have rebel tendencies, okay? So as they're leaving, the kid that was there for her hand is called a craven by a dude on the sidelines. And the kid pulls out his sword and kills the dude, like, craving that, okay? But I found that a bit disturbing too for some reason, and I guess it's because it was unnecessary violence and it shouldn't have taken place while the princess was in the room, in my opinion. Anyway, Prince Daemon comes back, and when he comes before Viserys looks over to Otto, okay? And I was just like, can you decide for yourself how you want to handle your brother or how you want to greet him, you know what I'm saying, without looking to Otto for counsel? I mean, have a freaking backbone. Sheesh. So Daemon throws the sword down at Viserys' feet and tells him to add it to the chair. And it kind of reminded me of when Sir Barristan threw his sword down at Joffrey in Game of Thrones, okay? And he said, "Here, boy, melt it down with the others." Even though I loved it when Sir Barristan the Bold did this to Joffrey, I'm not sure how I feel about Daemon doing this to Viserys, okay? But anyway, we also see that Daemon is wearing a crown because he has been named King of the Narrow Sea after his victory in the Stepstones. But to appease his brother, Daemon tells Viserys that he knows there's only one true king, and he kneels before Viserys and tells him that his crown and the Stepstones belong to him, okay? And now Viserys receives his brother. He receives him well. And, they hug it out. And it seems like all is right with the world. And they go and drink and laugh together. And Viserys repeatedly tells Daemon that he was their mother's favorite. But this brotherly love does not last long, guys, as Daemon sets his eyes on Rhaenyra and comes up with a plan to get her to leave the castle later on that night. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about the fact that we get to see a little more of what life is like for Alicent, okay? Her and Rhaenyra have a heart-to-heart moment where she tells Rhaenyra that she has no more friends and feels alone because all people see when they look at her is the queen, okay? And of course, Rhaenyra understands this. She may not be a queen, but she understands what Alicent is going through and has felt very much alone these past 4 years. We even heard her tell her father in last week's episode that no one is here for her, So Rhaenyra takes Alicent's hand and lets her know that she has missed her, all right? But we also see that Alicent is a bit envious of Rhaenyra, but not in a bad way. She just thinks that Rhaenyra is lucky to be able to choose her own suitor, and she thinks it's rather romantic. We are seeing that Alicent's world is the total opposite, For example, she has to tend to a crying baby while Rhaenyra gets to escape the castle and run wild, okay? So later that night, Rhaenyra goes to her chambers to get ready for bed. She says goodnight to Criston Cole and closes the door. Then she sees some old clothes on a table with a piece of paper letting her know of a secret passageway to get out of her room. So she changes into these raggedy clothes and a hat, then exits her room and finally meets up with Prince Daemon, who takes her hand and guides her outside the castle walls and into the streets of King's Landing, where it's like a freaking medieval Mardi Gras, you know what I'm saying? Except these people having sex out in the open and, all kinds of crazy stuff. But anyway, Rhaenyra is loving this experience. She's running into rude drunks who tell her to F off, boy. And she's amused by him calling her a boy. She's also just amused by the nightlife in King's Landing as a whole. They even stop to watch a play where she gets to hear how the people of King's Landing perceive her and her royal family. Okay, this also reminded me of Arya seeing the play in Bravos and how she had to watch how her father and sister were portrayed. Anyway, so Rhaenyra, she tries to heckle and yell out, lies, slander, boo, but it didn't do any good, and Daemon tells her to jest if she likes, but many of the small folk believe that Prince Aegon should be the heir over her. Meanwhile, as Rhaenyra is running the streets, literally, Alicent is summoned by the king because he got horny in the late night hour, okay? So, unfortunately, we had to watch this older man humping and pumping on this young girl, and she was just laying there like Celie from The Color Purple, I just lay there and let him do his business. Well, Celie, you make it sound like he going to the bathroom on you. That's what it feel like. Anyway, that's exactly the vibe that I caught from Alicent, guys. She is not a happy young lady, okay? Sure, she cares for the king, but she don't want him like that, okay? She's just doing her duty. Now, back in the streets of King's Landing, Daemon takes Rhaenyra into a pleasure house where she sees all types of sex going on, okay? It was probably smelling horrible up in there too, guys. But before they enter, he has her get rid of her hat, and he takes down his hood. And this was definitely a calculated move, okay? He wanted someone to notice them so that word could get back to the king. But anyway, Daemon and Rhaenyra started kissing and pants even came down. But I guess Rhaenyra wanted it too much for him and he stopped it from going any further and left her there still feeling horny with her pants down, okay? Looking like a little fool. So, when she leaves, she's spotted by one of Otto's little spies, or birds, if you're thinking of Varys like I am. And the child runs to tell Otto what he saw. And of course, the next day, Otto tells the king, and Viserys doesn't believe him. In fact, he wants to take out the rumor monger's eyes for telling Otto this information, okay? The king tells Otto to leave because he got pissed off and realized that Otto probably couldn't wait to tell him this information, He accused Otto of wanting to destroy his daughter's reputation just so Otto's bloodline could sit on the Iron Throne. And that's a major fact right there, guys, okay? We all know it. So Otto leaves the king's chambers, but what he doesn't know is that Alicent was somewhere in the background overhearing everything. So before all this happened, Rhaenyra made it back to her room and she was still hot and bothered. So she lures Sir Criston Cole into her room by taking his helm. Long story short, after taking 6 months to get Sir Criston out of his armor and an additional week to unstrap Rhaenyra's boots, they finally get it in, guys. And even though I'd rather see Sir Criston and Rhaenyra together, it was quite uncomfortable to see Rhaenyra having sex like a pro, okay? She didn't seem like she was a virgin at all, guys, okay? Now, I understand that the actress who plays Rhaenyra is grown enough, but she is a teenager on the show and looks even younger than 17 in my opinion, okay? So yeah, a bit uncomfortable for me to watch. So anyway, Alicent confronts Rhaenyra about the allegations against her, and it annoyed me that Rhaenyra lied to her. Even though her and Daemon didn't have sex, she made it seem like nothing happens at all. And especially the part about her maidenhood, you know what I'm saying? And, oh, sister, you must believe me. Oh, your grace. She was just really putting it on, and I was just like, Rhaenyra, that's not a good look. I don't like that. And it really showed a different side, like a side that she could really be deceitful. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so anyway, moving on. It's time for drunk Daemon to see the king, and the king stands over him and kicks him around a bit, then puts a knife to his throat. Because, Daemon lies to Viserys by making it seem like he really did have sex with Rhaenyra, in hopes that Viserys would allow him to marry his daughter because he'll take her as she is, But Viserys ain't trying to hear that, okay? He tells Daemon to go back to the Vale to his wife, and he wants him gone this time for good, okay, out of my sight. So now he has to talk to Rhaenyra and tell her that after all these shenanigans, she no longer has the privilege of marrying the suitor of her choice. He tells her that she has to wed Rhaenyra Velaryon, and she tells Viserys that she will do her duty, okay? First, she didn't fold that easily, guys, okay? First, she was on some, so that I can be a cure for your political headaches. And he was like, you are my political headache, and so he basically let it be known, like, yeah, girl, this is what I'm telling you to do, and you're gonna freaking do it, okay? So she's like, all right, then what the heck you gonna do about that little vulture? You know what I'm saying? I'll do my duty and I will marry Rhaenyra Velaryon, but you need to do your duty as king when it comes to Otto, okay? She tells her father that Otto is a vulture who spies on her to bring about her ruin because he wants Prince Aegon on the throne. So after hearing her out, he summons Otto and tells him that he's been thinking and putting things together that he never thought of before. In just 5 days, he went from being just another man in King Jaehaerys' court to the second most powerful man in the realm. Viserys even mentions that he realized that even though Alicent's companionship was much needed and she helped him through a hard time in his life after losing his wife Aemma, he now realizes that Alicent was a calculated distraction. Long story short, guys, the king tells Viserys that he can no longer trust his judgment and strips him of his title just that quick, okay? Give me that pen right now and get out of here. Then we get to the next scene where the Grand Maester comes into Rhaenyra's room to give her a tea that he says was sent by her father to rid her of any unwanted consequences. So I like how Viserys brightened up in this episode, guys. He took kingly action against Otto, Daemon, and his daughter. And he showed Rhaenyra that he's not stupid, and he knows that she's not innocent also. So drink this tea so your secret is safe with us. And that is how the episode ended, guys. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Until next time, you guys take care and be blessed. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.